Bears got the best of me. I said, bears on my fantasy. I said, bears ain't what I like. We do it all night, alright. Bears that don't discriminate. I take a cover chop to circumnavigate. Steal my heart and let it percolate all night, alright. Bears got the best of me. I said, bears on my fantasy. I said, bears ain't what I like. We do it all night, alright. Bears.
Well, hey everyone, welcome back to Bears of a Certain Age. We're your hosts, Scott and Jonny, and welcome. We are so lucky today. Who would have thought in the heart of Temecula, California, an unexpected friendship blossomed between two guys from seemingly very different worlds. Jeff Camacero is a 77-year-old former mayor and lifelong Republican, and he found himself in the barber chair of E.J. Radford, 25-year-old non-binary tattooed barber, and all of a sudden we have this friendship and a brand new book out, The Old Man and the Queer. You're not allowed to say old man on Bears of a Certain Age, Jeff. That's against the rules. We try to forget about that as much as we can here.
Yes.
Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome, Jeff and EJ. How you guys doing?
Thank you. We're doing great. It's a beautiful day out here. I played pickleball for the first time today. My body's sore, but not things are good.
As long as your body is still moving, that's what we count successful.
Exactly. Impressive.
But also, I thought Scott was going to say, instead of non-binary, I thought he almost said non-bear. And I was like, that's sort of true. Like, Jeff is definitely a bearish man over here. And then EJ, you're not a bear at all. So I love that. See, we're very inclusive here.
Non-binary. He's non-binary. So he's got it both handled. There you go. Well, EJ, welcome. Let's start with you. So tell me about yourself. You've been working as a barber. Talk about you're out and proud as non-binary. When did you first start coming out to yourself? And when did you feel you started finding your tribe? Did you have a kind of a tribe before you met Jeff?
Yeah, so I came out at 16 as a lesbian originally, and I started finding people within like my small, like, because my community was really small. I was involved with like a church group at the time, and so within that I found like the two other people that were also queer. Whether I think one of them was out and the other one wasn't, and so it was like, or to themselves, you know. The other one came out like later, and that was a funny thing all of itself. But yeah, so that was kind of like my tribe to start, and over the years, as like life grows, I found more of a queer community just within Temecula itself, which has been pretty awesome. We have the Temecula Valley Pride organization out here, which is I think been getting started more pretty recently, doing a lot more events and everything, so that's been awesome to get kind of involved locally with them. But yeah, I've been out. I'm a local barber, shop owner here in Temecula, and it's been a pretty interesting experience. Temecula is a very conservative area, but over the years it has done a lot of growing, and a lot more queer people, I think, than I even realized lived here. And so it's been cool to get to see, because I've pretty much posted up, you know, on my websites and Yelp and everything, like queer-owned shop, and there's a cool little space called Everywhere is Queer, and I'm up on there so that like all the local queer people can find me, you know. And I've actually had people drive in from Riverside and like a couple miles away to come and get a haircut. So it's been really cool to meet a lot of the community members and everything. So yeah.
And I have to ask, Jeff, you find yourself in EJ's chair to get your haircut. You know, self-proclaimed, in reading the back of, for everybody who wonders, they wrote a book called The Old Man and the Queer, which is what we're talking about today. You say that you were a, you know, self-professed staunch Republican. How did you find yourself in that chair? And then what was that first reaction to each other?
Well, it was very awkward, but let me go back. It was about almost 3.5 years ago now. My son and I got a gift certificate to a men's health spa, spa. which I'd never heard of such a thing. But anyway, it's a for a haircut, a beard trim. My son and I both have beards, and a hot towel shave. Never done anything like that, so it sounded good. So we both went into this shop, and they took me in the back room somewhere getting work done, and I got finished first, and my son was out front in a more public area. So I came out to see how he was doing, and I saw this person, we'll identify by name later, cutting his hair, and I'm a little bit ashamed to say it now, but it's an honest comment. I was appalled at what I saw. Tattoos, nose ring, you name it. Things shooting out the ears. I'm an old conservative guy. I've moderated a lot, thanks to EJ, but still, and that just didn't sit well with me. And I remember saying to myself, I would never let that barber touch me. And that was a horrible thing to think. And I went home that night, and I felt awful about myself and what I was thinking. Because that's not me. I was raised in a poor neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York, very racially mixed everything. And we never had any issues. No, there was no bias, no prejudice that we could see. And so all of a sudden I had this revelation that maybe I'd been lying to myself when I said I'm not biased. So I don't know, out of guilt or curiosity, I'm still not sure which, I told myself next time I need a haircut, I'm going to book this person. And I did. And so that was the first, I think we might have said 2 words to each other when you were cutting my son's hair.
Yeah, maybe.
But the first time really we met was that first haircut. Yeah. And it was awkward for both of us. I mean, after we, talked about it later as we were writing the book, we kind of didn't know what to make of each other. And I was obviously not the typical client that EJ has, and certainly wasn't the typical barber that I've had cut my hair over the years. So, but we got through it, and I remember walking out of the shop thinking, you know what? It's a person like anybody else, And I love the haircut.
Nice.
EJ is a very talented master barber. And so I went back a second time, several weeks later, and then a third time. And by the time I walked out of the shop that time, I said, I love this kid.
Well, it sounds like your first impressions were kind of like a punk kid. I don't even know if you even realized that EJ was transgender. When did that revelation come to you?
It slowly things evolved. I will say that EJ never hid anything, but wasn't necessarily forthcoming with the whole story. So I kind of got doled out bits and pieces. And but once we had gotten to know each other well, and I realized, what a great friend I had here, then I was comfortable with anything. Now, well, when I first met EJ was Liz. And it was sometime early on in the process of writing the book. Eli, I remember, took out a new driver's license, which had his new name on it, and he said he's now Eli. And I could see, I can't profess to understand all that. I'm getting there still. But I saw how happy it made him, and so it was good.
That's amazing. So when was that moment, and who approached who about a book, and what was that conversation like?
It all started kind of as a joke. Jeff made, joke about our friendship is, just
weird.
So outlandish, that we had to write a book about it, and I thought that was a great idea. I thought it was hilarious. So we got together eventually over coffee and talked a little bit more about it, and that's kind of how it all started.
The next thing you know, we had a book outline.
Yeah.
Do you remember Eli asking me what we should call it, and I said it can only have one title. That's it.
Love the title. Amazing. And EJ, so Jeff is obviously kind of going through his own struggles and kind of trying to just make himself a better person. What were you thinking this time? Were you more scared? Were you kind of apprehensive to kind of share a little bit more with him? Or tell me what the relationship started out from your eyes.
So I have to admit too, I did have, a bit of a bias when it comes to, I hate to say this, but people that look like Jeff that come and sit in my chair. I don't automatically assume that, they're going to be, most of the time I assume they'll be a little more conservative or Republican, and I'm a little more hesitant to just forwardly, say, hey, look, I'm transgender, so it's not that it's a secret, it's posted everywhere, but if you're not going to read the signs, then I'm not going to throw it in your face, so so it was over time where we kind of got to know each other a little bit better, and we were able to have kind of more honest conversations with each other. And I am in a little bit more of a private space, so it makes it a lot easier to just have conversations with people. So we got to have frank talks, and Jeff was able to ask me questions about myself, and I was able to do the same with him, and we kind of just got to know each other on a little bit of a deeper level than just, what kind of haircut do you like? How's the wife like? So it was cool because as we actually became buddies, it was easy to have those conversations because, I knew that Jeff actually cared to hear it and not just to have an argument or a rebuttal to whatever I had to say. He was genuinely, hey, look, I am coming from a place where I don't understand something. I have these questions. If you could answer them, I'd love to know more, Whereas a lot of people, when they come from a more conservative Republican side, they tend to ask questions to start an argument or not to get to know you, It's to change your mind even, so
have I changed your mind yet?
No.
Well said.
But yeah, okay. That's right. But no, it was cool, because it reminded me that that there's a lot of hope out there, there are people that are genuinely interested and not just from a hidden agenda place, and we actually are really good friends now. So,
well, and Eli found it. It's we wrote the book not to become big time authors, which we're really not. We're published, but or to make money. Although everybody likes to make money, certainly we do as well. But it's really a book that carries a mission and a message, and really just what Eli said. If we can do it, especially me, because I think I had to come the longer way.
I'll give you that.
Okay. Well, then, maybe there is hope. And why do we have to have all this hate in the world? Are we going to change the world? I'd love to think we could, but no. But if we can get to a couple of people here and there, and we have done that. We've had people reach out to us, telling us their own stories and thanking us, for what we did. We lay everything out in the book. We don't, keep anything back. And it's been very rewarding, and it's selling well, too.
Nice. Jonny, do you have a question?
Oh, I do. I thought it was your turn. I have 20 million questions, to be honest with you.
Go ahead.
What did you know? Like, Jeff, you come from politics. I mean, you were a mayor. You were entrenched in all of it. What did you know, first of all, when you guys were writing the book, that the election would be what it was? Or did you have that? And then did that cause any sort of friction as you were writing it, that you had to keep coming back to the touchstone of your humanity together?
Well, when we started, we were aware that it was becoming a hot button issue. So from the standpoint of marketing a book, the timing was good.
Right.
but we really didn't pay any attention to, the elections now that just concluded. I mean, I always pay attention to elections, but in terms of the book and how we felt, I don't think so. I although personally, I've morphed, and it's harder and harder for me to be a Republican. I'm still there. I contacted one of my Democratic friends not long ago, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm becoming a Democrat. I think, you know, like sacrilegious, but I've always been conservative in terms of fiscal issues, size of government, things like that. But I've always been quite moderate, even more left than moderate on social issues. And so it really wasn't that much of a stretch for me.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's been said a lot of times that the Republicans aren't conservative anymore. There's not, it's a MAGA movement now. So it's entirely different from, I think, where you came from. And it's got to be hard. I mean, the day we're taping this today, Texas came out with 32 new trans bills they're going to try to put through in their next legislature. And I'm sure with that relationship you've built, they just don't understand the people behind it. Can they, Jeff? How do they even understand that? And what does that go through your mind when you hear that there's 32 trans bills out there, Eli?
It just slays me. I don't understand it. There's an awful lot of California politics that are too liberal for me, but not when it comes to just people issues. And I mean, what's the purpose of government? It's to keep people safe. Provide basic needs where needed for people who can't do it themselves. We don't have to be in everybody's business. And so, thankfully, in California, that's the case, although I think they go too far. That's a whole other discussion for another show. But I can't conceive. I mean, I see it in Texas. I see it in other states, obviously, as well. And, everyone's going to be trying politically to gain favor with the White House in many states. You got governors who are vying for positions in the administration. You have all kinds of strange things going on. That's scary.
Well, what I love about your book and about your relationship and about you all not being afraid to kind of go out there and put it out there is I always believe if you think back to marriage equality, I was there pre-rights and fighting and all that. And when they pivoted and began to tell human stories is where the things started to change. And it's when we can start seeing each other as not a monster we've painted, but like you two did, seeing each other as, oh, there's a human here and there's a human here on both sides. And you find that connection. Where was the moment for both of you that facade melted and you realized, oh, this is a person and I'm seeing their humanity and you're finding your balance with it?
You need to answer that because I don't know the answer.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
It just evolved.
Yeah, I'd say that happened naturally. I don't think there was exactly, like a turning point, I think that for both of us, those turning points, like, for me, it kind of shifted over time, and I think for Jeff, if you want to call it a turning point, it would have been before when he had decided to come in, I think that's the biggest,
right.
But I think in terms of, like, our friendship and everything, I would say just with time, just getting to know each other and asking questions, and for me, it was being honest and actually answering those questions. You find a lot of queer people nowadays that say, oh, do your research or go ask somebody else. I'm not your, like, token queer or whatever it is, So, for me, it's more so, how can I expect you to understand me if I don't explain myself to you? So, when somebody asks, I try to be very honest with them. And so through time, as Jeff got comfortable asking questions that were on his mind, I was honest with him. And I think that even seeing his reaction to things, and like I had said earlier, that he was genuinely curious and not trying to start an argument or had different reasons for asking questions. I think that was kind of something that really helped us, or me at least, be honest about and just grow the friendship.
Yeah, I think too, and I've told you this I don't know how many times. One of the first things I noticed about Eli after the body piercings and tattoos and everything was an honesty about him that just pervades his being. I don't mean just telling the truth. I mean there's something about Eli that just exudes honesty. And that's a very appealing trait in a friend.
Well said by both of you. I like that. And then talk about the actual mechanics of writing a book. How was it kind of coming up with what you wanted to talk about and the chapters and who wrote what and how long did it take to edit? Tell me about the mechanics. That's got to be an undertaking for best friends and husbands and wives, let alone newly minted friends. Talk about the process of writing a book together.
Well, I'll say this, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was tedious. It took us about a year and a half from first word on the page till we were done. But what we decided early on was that one of the big focuses of the book is to highlight the differences between us, because that's what makes it so unique.
Right.
And so we each detail our lives as a memoir. My life's a little bit longer than Eli's. But we tried to keep them about equal in the book. And so I wrote mine independently, and Eli wrote his independently. And, we critiqued each other, and, certainly we looked at them afterwards. But our writing styles are different. The phraseology is different. And so that was important to us. And then we have, I don't know, 5 or 6 chapters, where we talk about how we came together and the friendship itself and the message that we're delivering. And those chapters we wrote together.
Nice.
Amazing. So what has been the biggest surprise you're not only in writing your stories and finding your connections, but now you're out there, you're talking to different people about it. What's been the most surprising thing you've learned?
The positivity.
Yeah, the amount of support from
Wow.
just everybody that we've brought it to.
I have a friend who's about my age, a female, and she said that she wouldn't buy or read the book because of the title and the word queer.
Oh, wow.
Now, in my generation, if you use that term to describe somebody, I mean, those are fighting words,
Yeah.
And so then it became gay, and then it became queer again as acceptable and within the queer community. But that was the only negative, just that went. And okay, Kathleen, you don't need to read it. It's okay. But I expected pushback, especially from some of my fairly religious Christian friends, and I have quite a few. But no, in fact, 2 of them were insulted when I told them I thought they might be concerned. And their response was, as good Christians, we love everybody.
I
And I
love
thought,
that.
not everybody has that point of view, as you will.
No.
Well, and that's what I wanted to know. I mean, you both come from such different, we have families, we have chosen families. Like we said, you were the mayor, so you were in political circles and different social circles. EJ was obviously meeting clientele, but families sometimes will accept trans and sometimes won't. Talk about how your individual groups have now mixed with each other. Do you are able to kind of combine those two chosen families and born families together at all?
Some.
Yeah.
I've been married for 41 years. We have adult sons and grandchildren. And Eli's got a beautiful wife and a 10-year-old daughter that they co-parent. And we get together from time to time. And we're in my office at home right now. My family's right outside the door. We've had dinner together, and everybody does fine. It's a very respectful kind of relationship.
Yeah.
I think maybe different on your end, but for me it is, and my family. A little skeptical at first, but my wife was very supportive through the entire process and still is.
Nice.
Well, as to speak to the queer part, so on my show that I have called the Queer Centric, we call our listeners are called queerdos, and what I love about that is because it's not about being gay, it's not about being trans, it's about everybody just being. We're all a little off, we're all a little different, and that's what I love about your story is proof that allies are just as important. Speaking to each other, what's going to become very important is reaching across the aisle soon. And we need more examples like this. And to be honest, really intense, jarring examples that I never expected to get what Scott sent me over. That has to begin to feel like, wait, we're doing something important, even if, when the Today Show calls you tomorrow, don't forget us. That's got to feel like it's bigger than both of you.
Oh
This
yeah,
message.
question it's a universal issue. It's one of the things that excites us about marketing the book, and we're just really starting to move out beyond our local area. Is that everyone is touched by LGBTQ issues some way or another, whether it's in their themselves, in their families, their friends. We've had countless people. In fact, I would say certainly more people than not, as we do book signings and talk to groups, who have come up to us afterwards and told us their story. And we did an event just yesterday, and I don't know if you were there, and I was talking to that kind of tall woman, and she was crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, starting to tell us about some people in her family, and thanked us profusely for giving her the courage to do what we're doing. I mean, with those kind of stories, boy, I lay my head on the pillow at night and I just think, wow, that's great.
Exactly.
You guys are bridging divides, that's for sure. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come out. I really do hope you'll take the show on the road and hit LA and all the different areas and do some book signings. EJ, you guys have a great website. You guys are continuing to evolve as you talk to your story more. Let everyone know where they can find your website and where they can find your books.
Well, the website is www.theoldmanandthequeer.com. Very creative.
And we're available on Amazon. You can just search up The Old Man and the Queer. We're available for paperback and on ebook.
Yay. Listen, it's amazing. I tell everybody that our stories have power. And so to say the words, especially if we feel scared, give the stories power because that changes the world. And so I love that you put it pen to paper. I can't wait to get everybody that I know to buy this book. It's a conversation starter that we need to have now because we do not see each other anymore. And I love that you saw each other as beyond what we do here. So I don't have to understand someone to know they have a right to exist. So this is beautiful. I can't wait to read this book. So I'm
Well,
glad. Thank you for doing our show.
Our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
No problem. And Eli, we love to support LGBTQ owned businesses. Let everyone know where they can find your business if you're on social media.
I am on social media. Our shop is E&E Barbershop. We're here in Temecula. We're close to the Temecula Mall. If anybody is in the area, they'll know where that's at. But yeah, just Google, Instagram, anywhere, E&E Barbershop, and you should be able to find me and the shop.
Love that.
And
Yeah.
And then, Jeff, you have a little bit of wine business going on. Talk about, do you sell online or can we have to go there in person?
we do actually. So I think we're selling in just about all 50 states now. That's a process to get licenses to deliver to different states. You have to do them all individually. But yeah, we do that. We have a couple of restaurants. We stage an awful lot of weddings. It's a huge place. And
Nice.
to be clear, when I say I'm the owner, we have 83 owners.
Woo-hoo.
There you go. But that's still important.
That's
Let everyone know where they can
right
find
there,
that website or where they can find you on social for that business.
Oh, it's on everywhere, but www.europavillage.com.
Love.
That'll take you to a couple of different sites that are related that include us as well.
Fantastic.
Well, we celebrate you. We celebrate you guys. We are thrilled for a story like this in for a lot of us, a very unsure time. This is beautiful. So glad you've been with us.
Guys, the
Thank
book
you
is
again.
called The Old Man and the Queer. Be sure to go check it out. Check out their website. Support these fantastic human beings. They're giving a fantastic story, bridging the divide, which we need so much now. Guys, stay on the line for me. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks right here on Bears of a Certain Age. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bears got the best of me. I said bears on my fantasy. I said bears into what I like. We do it all night, alright. Bears that don't discriminate. I take a carbon chop to circumnavigate. Steal my heart and let it percolate all night.